Well, it's all over, and Rishi Sardana has won the Australian Chess Championship by a massive 2 points, continuing on his merry way today, beating the youngster Daniel Melamed. Sardana, the top seed, was really the class player in the field, and his 9.5 out of 11 score has rarely been bettered, probably only by Daryl Johansson, who's achieved 10 and even more on some occasions. So Sardana's game against Melamed, well, he dominated the game from the start, although in the position in front of us, he could have just played rook takes bishop on d7 and been better. And I just want to show you a little resource that Melamed missed, though it's pretty hard for a human to see. After bishop takes e8, he dismissed bishop takes bishop because of queen takes b7, when the rook on a8 is somewhat trapped. But in fact, after bishop takes a3, the game is now completely crazy. If you take the rook now, queen takes c3, check mates you. And if you just play very calmly with king b1, which may well have been the move that Melamed rejected the whole line on, then there's this extraordinary move, queen f8. And now if you take the rook, then bishop g6 check wins the queen. Even that's messy, but it should be quite good. And black is actually doing okay around here. It's a very, very strange position. But if, for example, you play king a2, then I suspect even a move like rook b8 is possible. So that's gone rather wrong. So things could have gone wrong for Sardana. Instead, queen f4 check was played, bishop check and rook takes, but of course after queen takes b7, and of course queen f7 might have been even better. White was just winning on material, and it was just a matter of mopping up for Sardana to finish 2 points ahead. The reason he was 2 points ahead of the field was because his main rival, Fred Litchfield, lost his second game in a row. Litchfield played quite a poor game against Solomon. It seems like yesterday's loss meant Litchfield just wasn't challenging for first anymore, and somehow the idea of playing for second didn't matter to him as much. So in the end, second place was taken by two of the lower seeds, Yi Liu from Queensland and 12th seed Sam Osaka from New South Wales. Those two finished on 7.5, and half a point behind them were Litchfield and Litchfield's conqueror Solomon. For Yi to get to second place required an amazing turnaround. Well, first of all, Black's already rejected a dozen draws here as Lei tries to win. Yi played knight check, king e7. He can probably still draw with knight e5, but he played queen c5 check. And it is true that if queen takes queen here, knight takes, and the a pawn is lost quite quickly. And White has chances there. But after queen d6, which I suspect Yi had overlooked, takes, the game is totally on Black's terms. And now knight b6. And now if the 18-year-old Vietnamese Lei had done a bit of calculating, he would have realised he could just push pawns. Instead, he played a slightly more complex version, but he is losing his h-pawn. Still, White, it should be way too slow. Threatening g2, and now the pawn queens. The only way back is the way that Yi found. Check, king here, and now it just needed one more good move by Lei to win. King d1, you have to play knight f3, e5, and because we take that knight with check, it'll be all over. So for example, here, take, queen, queen, and mate. So that would have been game over. Instead, king e3, knight f3 turns out very, very unluckily to be losing for Black, because when you get here, knight e1 and f3 check is answered by king takes pawn, and then f2 again looks like it might be winning, but knight here, king takes, and king takes e3, king f3, and it's still game over because black does not make a queen and white does. Instead, king d2, and we get something vaguely similar, and again black does not make a queen and white does. So Lei unluckily had to resign, and Yi Lu worked his way to second place. So Sam Osaka had a very easy win over a disappointing Trevor Tao, who was the second seed in this tournament. And further down, we had Gary Lane finally finishing in sixth place outright. But really, the big winner from this tournament was Rishi Sardana, his first Australian Championship title, and from his play in this event it may not be his last, and he now will gain a lot of rating points and be highly likely to work his way into the Australian Olympic team. Just a quick note to say that the playing conditions for the tournament were generally praised, with the one exception that the venue didn't allow water to be drunk at the board. You had to leave the basketball court to have to drink or eat. But the games were all broadcast from the championship. The venue was certainly spacious enough, and there was a good analysis area and commentary area. So overall, I think the players were happy. Whether it can handle hundreds and hundreds of kids that will come in the day after tomorrow for the Australian Junior Championship remains to be seen. But for now, I'm bidding you farewell from the Australian Championship in Adelaide, and congratulations again to Rishi Sardana.